Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, episode number 384 on deck here this evening. Thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out with us here for a little while. It should be a good one. Brian is joining us from, I'm not even really sure where. I'm having a really hard time getting his beautiful mug even framed up so that you could see him right now. Hopefully he's unmuted and everybody can hear him all right. There's Brian, along with a mishmash of other stuff. Zoom. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Yep. So how are things?
Yeah, we at the moment my dogs are being pains in the ass, but yeah, we have a positive test in the house, so I'm home. Our oldest tested positive. All he's got is some cold symptoms. So, you know, I just figured it'd probably be better for all concerned to stay home tonight. And Chris dialed up the app, and here we are watching a little practice from the Chili Bowl.
And you said it's the first night they're on the track. I thought they'd already had some laps on that track earlier in the month.
Yeah, I guess they had. Jesus, my dogs are paying. They had a midget, even smaller cars out there, I guess. I didn't realize that, but so they're doing some practice now. So, I got to take care of my dogs. Go. We got them outside, please. Have dogs, they said. It'll be fun. But so I'm watching a little bit of racing and talking derby with you guys.
Well, that's cool. I understand that perhaps we're having some issues with the line here on my mic. Let's see. We got a note from Mark Elliott. Sponsorship's new and returning. We need a head count in the next week or so they can maybe get the banner done for Sturgis. So if anybody is sitting out there and trying to get all of their 2022 ducks in a row, Mark Elliott just wants to have that reminder out there with the Unified Point Series that cutoff is right around the corner, so they want to get that put together so that you can get that your logos on the banner when they go out to Redneck Rumble. So that's sitting out there. Elijah Hicks checking in. Scott Kiefer. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. It's running pretty hard in the red at this point. There we go. Alex Vasco saying hello as well. We've only got Brian for about 45 minutes before Zoom is going to cut him off, and he's spending his time now chasing dogs around the house. So. What better segue than to move into the annual Derby Banquet and swap meet? Speaking of chasing things all over the place, Brett Relyea joining us here in the studio. Brett, always chasing things, trying to make things better, and bringing back the Derby party again this year, and got a little bit more support from the venue this year, I understand.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty good. You know, when it all kicked off many years ago. You can remember, Chris, we had, 50, 100. Then the last one, I believe in 15-ish, was like 500 and some people. And then we took a break, and now this COVID, kind of messing things up a little bit. Pretty excited to see, the Smith Metal Works and the vendors bringing quality parts and you think about how much it's involved or, over the years, it's actually mind-blowing. The parts, the people, the internet, the people gathering together. It's really impressive. So this year, again, it's going to be February 26th, I believe.
Yep. February 26th is the date on the Facebook page. You just throw in on Facebook, the Derby Banquet and Swap Meet. All the information comes up there. There's a neat image of a Cadillac driving across and what appears to be a Santa Claus that was overserved.
Yeah, Bill's amazing. He's a lifesaver. trying to resolve that because I can't do it if I had to. When it comes to anything even remotely technical, like, hey, buddy, old pal, bail me out. But February 26th, we're going to go back to Tioga Downs. People, why don't you have it at your place like I did last year? One of my shops in Owego, New York. As we said from day one, we'd like to bring in a whole, the Derby world years ago when we started. It was, which we're not ashamed of, or I'm not ashamed of, all greasy and dirty and going to the, but there's no time to actually sit down and talk and visit, and it kind of forces the hand for people, to get on a different playing field and actually, I guess until too much alcohol gets involved, but, to sit down and enjoy. And there's a lot of people in the Derby world that got off on the wrong foot because of competition or problems or whatever, and it's hard to to fix it. There's really no hope for it because you pull onto the track or get to the track and you're worried about getting your car done, an inspection. There's no time. So I really like the venue where it's a little more, not classier, but down scale, as in fast pace, and the open bar starts at 3, and the buffet's at 5, and the downside of a couple things is, one, I'm going to be kind of limited to a couple hundred people, 250 people, to actually eat and be inside. Anybody can show up free of charge to the facility, trade parts, swap parts, buy parts, be outside. They're on me a lot of tailgating, and I can't have people inside it. Then I have a wristband. The last time we had it, I ended up paying for a bunch of people because they counted the people in there, and even though they didn't eat, and it gets expensive when you
starts turning a corner quick,
very fast.
So it's tough it always seemed like there was a ton of these business meetings that were probably planned or were supposed to happen, and with the open bar starting at 3 o'clock, and I'm just envisioning back the events that were held down at the Treadway in Owego. Everybody tried to get a lot of business done early in the day, whether it's swapping parts or whether it's trying to map out schedules, or a lot of promoters even set their watches against that event so that they knew that they were able to get their events and their schedules together, at least earmarked in time. At this point, February 26th, I think that most of the fair conventions will be over with by then.
Mm-hmm.
So promoters can still work on that plan. But I'm also thinking back, like you said, to slow things down. It's an easier sell when it's at a casino or it's at the Treadway or something, for your plus one to come. Mm-hmm. You can go there and you can make a bit of a trip of it, and everybody can hang around. And
it eases the pain a little bit. It eases the pain to convince them to go. Gives them something to do. Years ago when
Tony Godwin says hi.
What's going on? Hope your hand's all right, you crazy SOB. I can't believe you kept going like that. You were down in Florida, and I seen him grab his hand, and he was shaking it in the car, and I'm like, man. And the blood was just dripping. He wasn't giving up no how. And boy, I still don't know exactly what happened. I heard transmission or something, but Tony's a good dude. How you doing, buddy? But when this was created, years ago, it was really Terry's idea, and she was concentrating on having stuff for kids and females and Power Wheel derbies and stuff for like females, hair, clothes, whatever. And it's very hard to do that because you don't know how many companions are coming. Because then halfway through they switch it, and the companion don't want to come, and then a friend wants to come.
Right.
And it makes it complicated. So this event, casino, they do have the spa there, and they have, the open bar, and they got the gambling, and they got bands, and they're gonna have a band there for us that night, and I think it'll work out good.
Now, Brian told me that you rent out the entire casino. Like, you're going to have a full-service sushi bar there. You're going to have a buffet, and, like, you have the entire casino, the floor, all of the money that goes through the vending, or I blanked on the name. All the gambling machines, all that stuff is part of your contract? Well,
I'll be honest with you. I think maybe he does have COVID and he bumped his head. I think he's going a little Lulu. Well, when you first said that, there was tested positive. I was all excited. Thought maybe they were having another little one, but then I said, "Well, that ain't gonna work." I thought maybe he had something that was a surprise. He was telling everybody, but. No, that's not the case. This old fat guy can't afford that by far. But I do believe it'll be good. Last year we had it down to one of my properties in the village, and it worked out good. Wasn't much debris left behind. It was fairly easy. A lot of people got in and out, and I think that's what they wanted. We had old Prodigy down there doing some videoing, the legend, and there was we had some card games. Corey Roman and Pete and a bunch of us, did some card games afterwards, and it was a good time. But I wanted to step up the game back if it's possible, and to be honest with you, limit my liability of somebody getting hurt and.
Yep. Something to be said for that.
And it takes, Preston was down there with me for 2 days, and we were, cleaning parking lots and trying to get rid of the snow, and then the stress of it not being right and trying to keep it heated, and it was stress that I didn't want to indulge. And I figured, if we can keep it, everybody's happy, okay. If they're not, that's fine too.
So is there a cutoff at this point with the event's about 6 weeks away, maybe 7 weeks away. Is there a cutoff to RSVP?
I have to next the 15th. I have to give them a head count within 50 people, and then February 1st I have to give them an exact.
Yeah.
And that is based on being inside. At the bar, not the bar of the casino, the bar as the ballroom,
right?
And for the food.
Oh, so you had some people getting into the ballroom itself last time?
Yeah, a lot of people. They were just, which wasn't a problem. I ultimately don't care what anybody does as long as they're safe and happy, no fighting. But
Right.
when
Simple
it gets
rules,
into
right?
my pocket, a couple extra thousand, I get a little,
Right.
And actually I wasn't even cranky or frustrated. It was more so the casino, because I told them, I said, this is exactly how many we had, and my account was different than theirs, and, what are you going to do? You ain't going to argue with them. So
Right. At the end of the day, they hold the cards. Let's
it's
make
their
a pun.
game.
It's their.
And if you want to build your reputation or whatever, you got to, that's the cards you're dealt.
Yep. So in terms
Brett,
of, there's Brian. Go.
So, Brett, my wife heard your comment about the another baby, and I think she's on her way to Seneca Falls now, so you might want to watch when you come out of the building. Hey, it's great you're doing this, putting on another show. But I'm just wondering, do you have to buy tickets ahead of time for the driving school you're putting on, or is that something you could pay at the door? Or, I heard the premier event of the show is the Brett Relyea driving school. I want to get that out there to the fans so they know, kind of what to expect and what it's going to cost and stuff like that.
what COVID does to some people. I just don't. I guess if maybe we get some of that derby game going on, we can try that way. But I promise you, nobody wants no schooling for me because, as I was told many years ago, my gas pedal's broken. And they don't want no knowledge from me. I promise you, buddy.
The process to RSVP, is that all just done through the Facebook page? They just message you?
They get nothing crazy. I haven't even honestly looked. Basically, I try to keep it stupid simple. It's on PayPal. If it says 2 tickets, I see the name. I put 2 tickets for them.
There you go.
And I don't know if I'm sure not everybody or many people, but in the prior emails, or the messages, I have nothing to hide. There's zero gain to this for me. Every year I've done it, I've lost, which I can figure contribute to the sport. Because if I have a pig roast for the guys, friends, family, it's all, absorb it anyways. I don't mind absorbing. Because you hear rumors, he's doing this or he's making this, and you did it a few years New Year's Eve. By the time you pay for the rental of the place and this and that and clean up and it's so. The RSVP is just on the Facebook. It's just simply through PayPal, and everybody has a copy of it. So if you send it via PayPal, it's on your phone or whatever. There's no secret, and names don't have to be listed. It's just whoever bought the tickets. I don't, it ain't if I buy a ticket for your girlfriend or whatever. That person don't have to show up. You bought tickets, and the only thing that is an option is like I was talking to Pete Hansen there last week, and if the mask mandate continues, I'm not saying the event still won't happen, but I won't be there, and anybody that don't want to be there, I'll get them their money back. And I told the casino that. I'll be there, just I won't be inside.
Right.
And I'm not saying, everybody's have their own opinion. They can wear 3 masks as far as I care. I don't. But on the end of the casino, if it say they close down where they shut everything down again because it gets bad. The casino's gonna. They say they're gonna, no matter how you look at it, my end, the people will get their money back.
Right.
And I'll absorb it if I have to. But that's the only minor hiccup is not knowing what's going on. I guess worst case scenario, no matter how you look at it, people can still would change it. To one of my places, and we still have the swap meet. We just won't have the food in that.
We got some people that are checking in here. Mark Benjamin was wondering why he didn't know that you were coming up here.
I would guess because I didn't tell him. I didn't. I figured he was. Last I knew, he was talking to this girl Jen or something. He was. I didn't know if he was meeting her tonight or what he was doing.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Poor Mark. He gets in trouble all life. He wanted any help.
So, trying to keep up with everything that was. Mark needs 3 tickets and he wants you to put it on your tab. Tabitha's checking in saying hello, and Tony Godwin says his hand's getting better, and he did in fact lose his transmission. Alex Vasco, Scott Kiefer checking out there, hanging out in the live chat as well. You guys got the chance to go down to Florida. You just mentioned there a little bit ago that you got to see Tony run. How was Florida?
It was, I tell you, the weather's second to none. 84 sun, wasn't hard to get along with. Jason he had a extremely nice event. Anybody that does anything first time or out of the norm, I haven't heard no complaints except for the track was slippery. My personal opinion, I thought it was spot on, because would you rather get stuck in the sand and go nowhere or slide around? I mean, you only have so many options.
Right.
I thought it was really, there's nothing. I didn't hang out at the track much or hang around drivers just because, Donnie Hartzell went down with me and his boy Tucker and Preston and we were trying to keep the kids happy, trying to do events, trying to cover a lot of ground in a short time because 2 days driving and 3 days there, whatever, 4 days I don't. You spend a day recovering from the driving and
Just that and alone.
and but right across from the Hilton, Tom Dowd was there. There was so many people from New York State and all over. I mean, who's kidding who all over. But like Daryl Muldoon and they have places down there just make you feel welcome. I was able to drop a trailer. Tony was down there. So right across my hill, right next to Main Street, it was phenomenal. You see these, they had their lifts set up right on the front, right on US 1. It was really a cool event, and that facility definitely didn't look like it should have derby cars in there because it was really nice.
Right. And they're not worried about the floor, which is great news. I mean, you could put a little bit of clay on there just so that the cars that are set up with the Bulldog style don't high center on their the reinforced rear ends and stuff, and it would help get a little bit of grip back. And if you did dig through it, you'd be able to drive out of it.
I was thinking he was getting nervous because there was a couple times that there was sparks coming off the concrete. And
who was getting nervous? Jason or the guy that owned the facility?
No, I'm sure he was getting nervous. But it was second to none. It was a really phenomenal event. And it's hard to make everything perfect your first round.
Of course it is. Yep.
And as we talked a few minutes ago, it don't matter if it's a roof sign or an event or a banquet or whatever it is. You seem to find the people that support you before it happens, or they know how to get you. But it takes so many people to appreciate the good, and they don't be around after the fact. But the haters, or I'll give you an example. So I was standing in line. It had nothing to do with me, zero. I'm standing in line getting my ticket. I'm trying to figure out how to, on my phone, trying to figure out how to show the lady how I paid. And this guy huffs straight up and he says, "Do I come see you after this shitty event is over? It hasn't even started. Like the Derby has, like nobody's even been in their seats." And I'm like, "What?" I was mind blown. Well, it said that they're going to unhang people off the wall, or I don't know, he was mumbling. He says, "I want to know who I come get my money back from." This poor lady's like 85 years old. I mean, you really think she's in charge of giving the money back? Like, why would you already be so negative? Like,
Yep.
And it mind blows me. It really, I says, "Well, just don't go in then. I mean, if you're worried about it." And, you ask Preston, he says, "Well, here, I'll just pay your ticket for you if it's that bad. Like, if it's that upsetting." "Well, I just paid $1,000 to get here." I said, "Well, if you paid $1,000 to get here, I guess you're kind of pot committed." But the moral of the story is there's so many people that would do things different or see things different, and I don't think they take the impact that it takes on a promoter or an announcer or inspection. Even your inspectors, they take their job to heart, and they're going to mess up. But it's how there's zero good, it's negative, and the one negative carries so far to all the positive.
Right.
Generally speaking, I think Jason did a really good job, and I think it was a phenomenal event, and I hope he does it again.
On the topic of some of that stuff carrying, one of the things that I've noticed is that, like, if you're that quick to be down on something, you never wanted to like it in the first place. You came there, you spent $1,000 so you could complain. You can do that on your phone at home. and not
That's
even
simple.
see. I just don't get it. You know, I think that life's too short to be that pessimistic all the time. Just to go seeking out reasons to complain.
I think next year they ought to put soda syrup on it and really let them get some bite and tear stuff up.
To be honest with you, Brian, even though, I mean, I wasn't physically on, like, driving on the track, okay?
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, even like when I went back and watched my live feed,
Yep.
it appears, man, this is boring. And it might have been. But I'll tell you, it wasn't. When they wanted to get it, you know what really limited them, really, was, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm being a promoter myself and whatever. I believe Jason, because the blocks that went all the way around the track, nothing was anchored in. Nothing.
Yeah.
So I think he had to be extremely careful on people hitting them cars. So if anybody got by the wall even a little bit, he had to be cautious. He had to be concerned. So now that minimizes your, because what's the farthest from you? The closest to the wall is the farthest car from you. So I think that minimized it. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, when they wanted to, they could get it. I mean, I didn't understand some of the guys with, 530 years turning 10 grand for 10 minutes, but that's the driver, and boy, it did sound good. I promise you, they sounded good, most of them. But,
I noticed the same thing because I watched it both nights up here, and that's one of the things I noticed is that the walls weren't down. So that kind of, but like you said, I mean, and you know what, there wasn't a lot of, and I'm not knocking anybody, but I don't think there was a lot of guys that went there just to knock people out of their seats, which is fine. Chris and I have discussed it 100 times on the show. To have a successful show, you got to have the guys that want to go out there and just make junk, and you got to have guys that want to drive for the win. And I think I would say a majority of the guys that went down there, looked at it. Look, this is first time. It's a good, very good paying show. We're gonna go down there and try to win it, which I don't blame them for. But like you said, I mean, when they wanted to get after it, they were getting after it pretty good. I mean, in the 2-man extreme, George and Jeremy, they turned their car inside out in 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, obviously they could get after it when they wanted to. So it was possible.
Jeremy manages to junk anything. It don't matter. You put him in a damn Escort or you put him in an Imperial. He will junk it in 4 or 5 minutes, no matter what it is, and it don't matter if it's on ice or going uphill or downhill. And most likely, you'll be picking the pistons off the track afterwards. He makes me laugh.
Yeah, he definitely gets after it. Him and you are the two guys that have offered me to do that 2-man extreme, and I've said no to both because though you don't do it as much as you used to, you still have that in there where. How heavy that right pedal can be. So, I wouldn't ride with either one of you two, that's for sure.
I'll tell you right now, still to this day, that day that I seen Chris climbing that truck or whatever it was you climbed in, what was up to?
It was Dodge truck at Morris.
Oh boy, I says, Chris, what are you doing? And did that feel that bad? You're taking a
What? Say it again now.
You're taking a deep breath. Did that feel as bad as it looked, or wasn't it that bad?
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. You don't feel anything when you're unconscious.
So Chris, when you felt your shin bone bend U-shaped, that didn't bother you much?
I tell you what, the biggest thing from that, and I've told the story a bunch of times before, when that seat track was broke and that seat slammed forward and I wrapped my shins off of that dash bar. And I looked down, I just immediately felt that welt. You hit your head or whatever, and you get that welt, that goose egg. I really felt that goose egg, and it was throbbing, but it wasn't like this excruciating, mind-numbing pain. What made me throw up in my mouth, though, was when I pulled up my pant leg because I saw that spot of oil. My biggest fear when I got in that car was a fire. In there, it was like, this truck's way up in the air, there's all sorts of, it's metals and everything pointing all over the place. So I was really super conscious about oil or anything in the floor. And I saw this spot of what I thought was oil, transmission fluid or something on my pant leg. and it wasn't. It was blood. And I pulled up my pant leg just to see how bad that welt was, and I could see my shin bone.
I didn't know you got hurt that bad. I didn't even know
I went to
that.
the hospital and got 12 stitches to sew it shut.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Yep.
realize that.
Yep, but guess what? I didn't back out because I'm not a sissy.
Will you do it again?
Not a chance. Nope.
Hey,
Not a
hey
chance.
Brett, I heard you
Not
earlier.
actually
I heard you
tomorrow.
talking to.
Tomorrow I've got a I have a I've been on this trying to get this appointment. I got to go see a back surgeon up in Webster. I'm kind of excited. Hopefully this guy's going to be able to fix the discs that are blown out and all the vertebrae damage that's in my spine. So I'm
From
hoping,
Germany?
Huh?
From Germany?
I don't want him to feel bad, so we'll say no. Brian, you were saying?
Oh, I was just going to say earlier. I heard Brett mention that I think it was Tony he saw his finger bleeding, and I was just going to ask Brett if he remembered down to Owego when him and Robbie Brown were battling, and it was those two, the last two running, I think, and there might have been one other guy limping around. And Brett ended up having a radiator bowl, so he got out of the car because it washed him in hot water. And I go up to see how he's doing because he headed right to the ambulance. And I'm like, man, that's got to be bad if Brett's going to the ambulance. I'm like, you all right? And he goes, yeah, I cut my finger. And I think it was his left hand, and he turned it over, and I could look right in and see the bone, the tendons, the ligaments, and all that stuff. And I was like, ooh. He's like, yeah, I did that like first or second hit, but that isn't what bothered you. When that hot water hit me, that's when I decided I had to get out of the car. So Brett knows
that
about
hot
that
water-
cutting the finger.
Matter of fact, I'm just sitting here playing my finger now because there's no feeling in it. Like, and
It's amazing what a composite steering wheel shattering on your finger will do.
yeah, there's nothing. So, but when the top hose blew off the intake, and it shot straight back, and like I was laying in back then, Robbie's a cousin of mine. I love him to death. Richie's a buddy. But it was war. It was a bloodbath back then, and so the steam was coming. And matter of fact, it was one of Nick Nicastro's cars. It was a 66, 67 Newport with imp frame in it, and I don't remember if it was. I think it was one that he built for Waterloo before that.
It was Rob Kopp's car.
And so I kind of laid down in the seat, thinking the steam was going to blow over me. Well, that didn't work. Then I'm thinking, well, Jesus, I'm halfway down by the battery box. I'm going to get hit at 40. So during the Derby, I climbed out over the seat, through the back, right cars going by me. I climbed right out in the trunk because I just couldn't handle the fear, the raw pain of the and I went over to the ambulance. And they're like, "Oh, climb in here." And I'm like, no. And I got in my truck and I had to go get some stitches.
So you drove to the hospital after that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta hurt.
Yeah.
When I got out of the truck with Jeremy, he I showed Andy Vona. I'm like, does this look bad to you? And he turned real white. And then the guy in the ambulance, I showed him, and he was like, yeah, he turned a little white.
It was.
And
Wow.
And then I went to the EMT station, and after that I drove, and I had to call home when I was on my way to the hospital, the ER. I drove over there. It was my left leg, so I mean, I could still work the pedals and everything without any issue.
I'll promise you, when I seen you climb in there, I says, man, I was in a passenger seat of a car one time.
That was the youth car.
That was a youth car.
And you said you'd never do that again.
I ain't never, not ever, not on a bet. I'm never getting a passenger side of a car again. It don't. Matter of fact, Preston ran my kicker car down in PA, and I ain't getting a no car. Not no how, no way. That was the worst whooping I've ever. I won the V8 feature, but I'll tell you right now, I got a concussion from that, that youth, and I ain't getting another one.
Right on.
Oh, I probably could have got him in the. I probably could have got him in the passenger seat.
Mm-mm.
You think so?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, probably.
How many times are you going to run this year?
I'm thinking about Bash for Cash.
Yeah. Not a bad choice. I mean, if you're going to do something, do it big,
I
right?
thought you were on my side here. What do you mean not a bad choice?
Well,
No, you gotta say, listen, kids, the power wheels are way cheaper, way simpler. I can put it in the back of my
They'll change-
pickup.
make him cut his hair. He loses his power. He won't want to go.
Perfect.
Right? No?
No, because he will to do that.
Well, with everything
Right,
that Casey
wasn't it?
Smith has going with that youth class and that youth full-size stuff, I mean, I think there's definitely viable options out there, and you've probably got 8 or 9 of those Crown Vics out there laying around.
There's a couple.
1 or 2, right? What? Don't tell the real number.
Actually, I don't have a lot of the Crown Vics. I got a couple I inquired that is now Jason Sherman's that we made a deal on, and I think I got 4 or 5 other ones, 6 or somewhere in there. There's a couple. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna absolutely support Casey. Casey and Chance at Smith Metalworks are very good people. Preston, you put him in on a 4-wheeler, you put him in a car, backhoe, dozer, excavator, guns that don't rollbacks. I'm very, very confident with him. He'll take my derby cars. Don't matter if it's the red line what, and he'll run it and he can drive it, and I trust him. But his size and whatever, I'm a little nervous, because them youth kids, they don't play.
No.
And the other car that he kind of gave me a choice to run, and I'm almost positive there's a passenger seat in that one.
Sounds like it might be a little bit tougher to get out of this than I thought. All right. Well, we're going to see what Casey Smith is up to, see if he answers. Well, we got Casey on deck here. Capital City Carnage is coming up just around the corner. We're a little less than 2 months away from that. Capital City Carnage is going to be featuring limited weld and street stock welds, 10,000 to win each there. Welded compacts, 2-man extreme, front-wheel drive hobo stocks, front-wheel drive minivan hobo stock, front-wheel drive youth hobo, 2,500 to win each and paying the top 4. March 3rd is the limited weld and street stock. Casey, let me put you in. Looks like it. Limited weld and street stock heat draws on March the 3rd. March the 4th is limited weld and street stock heats and the front wheel drive hobo stocks. And then March 5th is a double program. The morning show, limited weld and street stock weld concees, front wheel drive youth and weld compacts. And then 7 o'clock start time for the twin bill, 2-man extreme, front wheel drive hobo and limited weld feature. And then capping things, the 10,000 to win street stock weld feature, March 3, 4, 5, 2022. Online for details, capitalcitycarnage.com. Bash for Cash, that is going to be May 27th through the 29th, 2022. Additional details are online at smashitderby.com. The Ross County Fairgrounds, Chillicothe, Ohio, is the site of the 2022 Bash for Cash. 3-man team pro stocks now the headline event, 15,000 to win there. Turn back the clock class, 12,000 to win, and the Smash It Minis paying 10,000 to win. All of the one and done's paying $2,000 to win. Smash It full size, street stock mini, street stock full size, pro stock mini, youth mini, Smith Metalworks Youth full-size street stock minivan truck and SUV, Frank the Tank, the Relic class, and the farm truck, also part of the program. The 27th of May is going to have the Pro Stock Team Heat Smith Metalworks Youth full-size at 7 o'clock start time. The Turn Back the Clock Heats are the main event of the 28th in the morning program. Pro Stock Team Consa Youth Minis, the Street Stock Minis, Street Stock Minivans, Mini Trucks and SUVs, Street Stock full-size. Frank the Tank will be the headline event, and then the Smash It Minis on the card there. May 29th, the third and final day of action, farm trucks, street stock minis, relics, the pro stock mini, Smash It full size, pro stock team feature, and the turn back the clock feature. Again, smashitderby.com, May 27th through the 29th. That's the 2022 Bash for Cash. 2022 standings thus far for the Unified Point Series. The first event is in the book. We've got the Wicked event at Sturgis, the Blue Ridge Bash, and Wicked's Urban Destruction event. The next 3, the Unified Point Series has been fully updated at this point. If you jump online, the 527unifiedseries.com has all the details. The schedule is up there, and also a reminder, they do have that deadline that is coming up here to get on the banner that is by design is going to try to be at the Sturgis event later on this month, so make sure you get a hold of Mark Elliott for additional details on that one. Just want to let everybody know about RPM Group joining us for the 2022 Derby season. A progressive waste management company based in Owego. RPM Group started in 2016 and now boasts 2 roll-offs and 6 garbage trucks, fully certified and licensed. The RPM Group customer base has grown to more than 3,000 people, offering curbside trash and recycling services in addition to asbestos abatement, asbestos surveys, interior and exterior demolition, lead renovation, mold remediation, mold assessment, and dumpster rental. That's the RPM Group. RPM Group NY. Click or call 607-223-8714. Jeffy's Fab Farm. Jeffy was hanging out with us in the live chat there. Jeffy's Fab Farm is recognized as an industry leader in all manner of purpose-built demolition derby parts, starting with rear ends in '06. The Fab Farm extended to headers in '08, and the shop can boast a combined 70-plus years of mechanical skill. The Jeffy's Fab Farm offering includes those LS conversions and conversion components with consistent feature wins across North America. Your turnkey solution is only a phone call away. Ask about the multi-fit shifter options. You'll also find fuel and air parts, suspension and transmission items, steering components, pedal switches, and gauges. If you need it, it's at the farm. Jeffy'sFabFarm.com. Check out the virtual store and order now. And waiting in the wings right now, we have Casey Smith. Casey is overseeing... Well, what the heck? There it is. That's the one we want. Smith Metal Works is hosting their Demolition Derby Expo April 8th and 9th in Mercer, Pennsylvania. The event's going to include several seminars and is going to feature a collaborative rules meeting in addition to a number of different vendors. There's a lot more information to come. There's a derby-related event being organized about a mile up the road. This is going to be second to none, as we know and expect from Smith Metal Works. Full vendors list is available online at smithmetalworks.info. Various promotions are going to be on hand as well, including Smash It, Iron City, and Hardcore, Toast, Deadman, and more. Times for each day are to be announced so far. Follow along on Facebook.com/SmithMetalWorks. That's Metalworks with an X for additional details. So, shifting gears back to what we've got right here in front of us at the FingerLakes1.com studios, Casey Smith hanging out with us here. Casey's been feverishly working to iron out the rest of the details for the 2022 Expo. What new stuff can you tell us about, Casey?
Let me just start slow here. The biggest thing, the biggest element we're adding this year is the after the close of the event on Saturdays, we have the Demolition Derby event, which will be two classes, which will be our SMW spec car class, which is an 03 and up build. All the cars are pretty evenly built. And then, of course, Jeffy's Fab Farm compact heat, which we're going to have more information coming out on both these as we get close. So I'm sure we'll both get a lot of emails or a lot of calls about, rules, entries, etc. Actually, both classes have been an invitational style event since it's more of an exhibition show, but just kind of a stepping stone in a direction to see if maybe in the future we may add a bigger event to the weekend. So
that would be cool. I know you said you were traveling today. What else? What were you up to today? Were you scouting stuff for the expo? Were you scouting stuff for Smith Metal Works, or did you have something else on the plate?
Just trying to make a living. Short version. Up early, customer. Just delivering some parts that we do outside of the derby industry, and then actually swung by an old speedway down east of Pittsburgh, which is being dismantled, and I was looking at some bleachers. So, just another ad for out of our driving school and the youth driving derby experience. So
is that Trailway?
A couple set of bleachers.
Is that Trailway?
What's that?
Is that Trailway? The racetrack that you went to, is that Trailway?
No.
What track did you go to?
No, Motordrome.
Oh, okay.
Motordrome?
Yeah, Trailway closed up too. Trailway's been sold. That was sold to a farmer, so they're tearing the track down. It's over on it's in Hanover.
Yeah, I think the last time there was a race ran at Motordrome was 2015.
Okay. Yep.
One of Western PA's only asphalt tracks in Jennerstown.
Yep, there was a story not too long ago. Somebody had gotten in there and was able to take a bunch of pictures, and some, I guess you'd call them looters or otherwise, vandals had gotten in, and they had rifled through trying to take what they could, but they left all the documents there. So you could go back through lists and lists of payouts and results and stuff was all still there, and it was kind of cool to see all that stuff just sort of frozen in time.
That'd be very interesting. That would be,
you
ain't gonna find that nowadays because it's all, digital or whatever. But that's pretty neat.
So what else?
The evolution of motorsports is pretty amazing when you get some, hard facts to look at, some history. So,
Ray Turner says they're gonna put a seat in Preston's car just for Brett. They can make it happen.
I don't know if he will or not. I mean. But I bet I could get him to it.
You got to bug your dad to let you go down to the driving school that Casey puts on.
Probably.
I'm sure
Who else
Casey
you
will let
got
you.
in there with you? I didn't catch the beginning.
Preston and Brett are here.
Oh, okay. So,
Chris said
Brett.
Chris said I should try to get Preston to come down to your driving school to spend some time with you.
So he'll drop him off the day after school ends and pick him up on September 8th.
when school get out up there on June 5th or something.
Hope everything's good, Casey. Nice to hear your voice, bud.
Oh yeah, you too, buddy.
Did you see? Not to get off topic too much, because I know you're short on time. But I was very amazed how quick Keystone filled up. Did you see any of that at all? Like that?
Yeah. Actually, the amazing part, that Iron City's national event, I think, when you turn the clock back and you look at the previous years, the big event we had in Western PA, and then you look at the traction that Iron City Promotions is obviously getting this year. Mm-hmm. I think if I'm thinking right, then I've kind of been out of the loop a little bit with some stuff, but they immediately filled three one and done feature classes for that class.
They filled it so fast they ended up adding, and demand was so high they added another.
That's what I heard. I'll be honest with you, I've not one time physically seen it myself because, just a lot going on with work and that. I've been kind of, off the path per se, but I heard people telling me, 100 and some cars already entered, and I'm like, wow, I didn't. Mind blowing. Like, it should be a really good.
I know it must have whatever was going on apparently overwhelmed the website, because I know Chance was freaking out because he was trying to get an entry in, and something happened. But I know he did get an entry in, and but yeah, it's looking to be a great event to look forward to this year for everybody.
Casey, can I ask you? And I consider you a friend. I don't talk to you as much as I'd like to, but your driving school, can you divulge like even with me talking to you, once a month or whatever, what does that entail? How does that work? Is that like literally that's not an actual derby? It's like a driving school for the kids, or what does that actually consist of?
To give you an idea, it's a program we put together, and it's not intended to be a full contact demolition derby. We have cars that we have, house cars provided by different people and such. And this past year, to give you an example, we worked with some kids, but the curriculum starts with, we give them an exposure at the shop, like a partial vocational day preview, where we expose them to CNC machining, welding, fabrication, a little bit of drafting and design, on the computer side. And then after that, we take them back and we start with three basic things. Awareness, control, and accuracy are the three things that we work on. So number one is getting the kids familiar in the car, because a lot of kids don't really get the seat time until they get to the track. So we do probably, the exercises consist of just teaching them how to maneuver the car, how to come in on a shot. So it's kind of a interesting class. We do, like when you see driving schools where you see kids driving through cones, getting their driver's license, they're not supposed to hit the cones. In our class, you're supposed to hit the cones. So, and surprisingly, we stage it. We have cars staged on the track. So we teach them more or less, number one, learning how to control the car they're driving, being aware of what's going on the track at all times. So a lot of times we familiarize them with the red flag, just to get them acclimated with looking around, being in tune with the officials. All the stuff we learn to ignore the officials, we don't teach that. You learn that on your own.
Well, it depends if you're like Brian Tompkins educated me this one time. If you're driving kind of easy and you got an official trying to get your attention to pick it up, then you pay attention to other avenues.
I like that. If you're driving kind of easy.
That's what he told me one time. He says, Brett, listen, if they get out there shaking a flag at you, he goes, and it's not harm. He says, just don't look at them if they can't tell you, you know. And I guess he had a valid point. I don't think I won that
You're
year.
not looking at them.
Yeah, that's what he said. So you as a veteran driver running, you know, Blizzard, all these national events, what would you say your key number one focus would be if you only had one to teach a kid? Example, you know, you're building your car with, you know, the best of the ability with body line creasing, you know, so you have everything, or your kill shots, or your awareness, or your vehicle kind you run, or whatever. Where I'm going with that is,
it's kind of hard to say. We don't pick, you know, there's not one part that's more important. We put it together so all three of the things work together. And as the kids learn, you know, day one, day two, et cetera, they really start to put it together. When we start working with the first part, then we introduce the next part. And then it all starts making sense to them. Like the control and the awareness, you know, the control thing covers a wide set of bases, you know.
The reason I
controlling the car, but controlling.
The reason I ask along them lines is that mind blows me. The amount of people now, even now, that's been derbying forever, that don't notice or aware. So one of my me as a promoter or a flagger, I have very minimum to zero tolerance for people making that last shot under red flag. I think it's dangerous. I think it's unsafe. And if you ain't aware enough to stop, then so my tolerance for that is virtually zero. I don't like it. But also on the other hand,
well, it should be close to, it should be zero, because a red flag means that there's something wrong.
And then on the other hand,
that's generally the first thing.
Example, me and Brian derbied one year at his hometown, and I lost steering second shot of the night, and it was hard for me to he couldn't catch on that I didn't have it, which I'm glad he didn't. I only needed another 2 more minutes from not paying attention, but I don't know. I think that's a very important, you know, not even from the officials, but, you know, paying attention if your gas tank's leaking, the smell, the battery sparking, just the raw awareness of who's where, what's where, the consequences, you know, in the derby track, which is young, but if you make that end-to-end track, what's the consequences of who's coming behind you if the track is open? That's basically what I was asking.
You're talking about, you know, batteries.
So, I mean, the awareness is...
Go ahead.
Yeah, the awareness is probably, you know, really one of the top things, because it's from everything from the time you get to the derby to the time you load up on the trailer to go home. So obviously we can't teach everything, but it's just a general course to give them some things to think about. And on the track, you know, we stage some things where, you know, we'll have a couple cars staged, and I'll put out 3 cones, and I'll say, look, go out there, and I want you to run around the track, and, you know, those cones, I want you to go hit them, but there's one out there you probably shouldn't hit. You know, as if this was a derby, and it's, you know, we'll usually bury it down in a corner behind a car to see which one they don't do, you know, because just the risk of pinching himself in somewhere or something like that. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of basic stuff, but it's like any other sport. The basics and the fundamentals of anything is always the groundwork for becoming better and excelling at the position you're playing. So,
well, you can tell that
it's always rehearsed.
If you watch enough of the derby, and you can tell the kids, you know, like Rick, you can tell the kids who put their time in building the car, the kids who that really have the passion for it and the wants for it, because it truly shows on the track. What were you saying about batteries, Chris?
You're talking about the battery sparking and how you got to be aware of it, and you don't have fingerprints on these 3 fingers, if I recall right, because you were the guy that was holding the cable against the battery, and afterwards you told me, yeah, it got real hot.
Yeah, it did. It did. It did. What was the difference between a win and a?
Indeed, it was.
You don't tell kids that, but yeah, that's. And then for a while, I did nothing but wore gloves for a little while. I've gotten lucky and got to the end of a couple of derbies by things I shouldn't know. Remember the year that Matt Gaskin jumped that wall?
Yeah, that was in Caledonia.
Oh my God! Do I wish we had that on video?
We had the camera there. The guy
he ran though.
Yeah, he wisely so.
Yeah, but Matt would have made it over the camera.
That was straight up Snake River Canyon stuff. Yeah, that was. You ended up going down to the end with Chuck Chapman in that one.
So at the end of the Derby, my gas tank actually broke loose from the car, and it quit running. And I'm like, what the?
Was that Roger Matthews Imperial that you ran?
Yeah. And I don't know how you get your memory, because I can't. I remember that with things, the tracks and whatever. So I look back and the gas tank's upside down, and I'm like, "What?" So I'm trying to hold on the gas tank upright.
It's like riding around with groceries.
Trying to steer the car with no power steering. Trying to stay close enough to Chuck Chapman, you don't hit me 100. And it was rather complicated. I got to cherish that event. This year I ran one on Jeremy's cars, compacts, and down to Sealings Grove, and I got halfway through the feature, and he had a good stainless steel tank on. The whole cage broke loose, the gas tank's upside down, and then the battery literally broke loose and was like against the floor. So I'm trying to straddle the shifter, hold my foot against the battery, trying to hold the gas tank, that's things you don't want to teach in the school of how to.
No, but thankfully.
Wait, hold on, wait. How did you do in that car where you were holding the gas tank and the battery, Brett?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Must be the phone's breaking up.
Yeah, No, we got lucky and got enough groceries money to get home. But as my dad used to say, you don't do as I do, you do as I say. So that ain't necessarily the brightest chance. In theory, you should get out of the car safely and fight another day.
Well, now you can just
Chris,
finish. Go ahead.
Well, that's our main mission statement that we carry with the experience is, making the right decisions on and off the track. So, that can be exercised all through life, all through, what you should and shouldn't do in the car. But like we tell the youth kids at a lot of the drivers' meetings, if there's something wrong in that car, just end it for the night,
Right.
Just because they haven't learned the skills of holding a fuel tank and a battery and driving the car at the same time yet. So,
He told me ever since he got hit with the keystone and in the passenger door, he would wear gloves even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, they not only that, I was always putting my cages in, half-ass, put the bars in, put the C channel in, 4-point cage, be simple. And Hanson always told me, you can't do that. I says, well, I did do it. I can't. I did. Well, when I got hit in them passenger doors, and I think Brian was there that day, and
yeah, Zach and I were there.
It broke the cage loose, and the cage literally come over, hit me, hit the battery, arcing out like what? I won't say that I still continued to go and made the feature, but so ever since then, well, I'm going to fib a little bit, but I attempt to put all your gussets in and make sure that, because that I never thought it was that big of a deal, but
I think that was keystone.
Yeah. Something like it.
Brian, that was Zach and I were there.
Perfect.
Well, at the end of the day, Chris, I'll make it real quick. I thank you for everything you've done. I thank you for what you've done for the sport. For those who can make it to the gathering, great. Try to do the best for everybody that's possible. If there's anything special that somebody wants that I can accommodate, most likely I'll have my skid steer there to help people load and unload and switch, and because I enjoy it. I truly do. Even though I get in a rat race, I'm always everywhere. I do enjoy helping. I do enjoy trying to make everything come together. There's times that you wonder if it's worth it, but as you know, it is what it is. It's going to be February 26th.
Yep. I have put all of the details in the chat thread in there, so if anybody wants to jump in there,
I can put you on the spot. You think you're going to make it?
Probably not going to make it this year. I'm not sure. We've got the week before that. I've got to do some stuff with Motorama. And then the weekend of the 26th is Melissa's birthday.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to.
So I'm not so sure that's gonna play out. We'll have to see.
Didn't we just talk, Chris?
We did.
That,
we did.
You get
it
the
softens
honeymoon
the blow.
suite, the honeymoon suite, and
It's not beyond the realm of possibilities. So we're gonna follow up on that a little bit further when we get back home. However, the deadlines are looming for the Derby banquet and swap meet that's going to be at the Tygo Downs. That is the 15th for the preliminary, and then February 1st is the final number.
I would think yes. I would think that any promoters that are interested, we can set them up a booth, set up their own area. We can set all the vendors together, as in the promoters. It's their game, it's their gig, but I would highly recommend, maybe giving some incentive for drivers that don't normally go to that area. Give them a spot or however you decide. If you want to, okay. If you don't, okay. But I think it's a good opportunity to get people to travel. It's like I seen TJ for
TJ McCulloch's all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know I don't understand 100% the game plan, but I think he's extremely intelligent of what he's doing. He's always been good to me, but he's giving spots away to people. Now, I didn't follow why or whatever, but somebody says to me a month ago, yeah, I don't know why I got one because I never ran there. I said, well, he must have seen you somewhere run, right. or there's a reason that he's doing it. And there's a reason that he's really taken off. And this last venue, I sent him a message and I said I was extremely impressed of how he handled everything, how it went. I was like the first car out, but he's onto something. And I think any promoters that have a potential itch to get drivers that they don't normally get, find out who they are, what they are. You get one to come, and then you might get their friend or whatever, and that's where it starts.
Yep, you pick up one in 2 or 3 years, you're going to pick up 5 or 10. Just look how Dunkirk always ends up filling places. That whole Chautauqua County Fairgrounds population ends up one or two goes, and then everybody ends up following.
As far as Kings of Old School, Chris, real quick, I'm pretty much done with any standalones. There is a chance that Coos will do Cobleskill. I haven't heard nothing from them. I don't know if they are. If they're not, there's no agreement, nothing's been heard of. Maybe somebody else has it, but pretty much it's Kings of Old School unless it's posted. My days of the battles pretty much over. I still like the sport. I'm going to hang in as long as I can before I sell out personally. And then, there might be a big yard sale, I guess. Big yard sale.
And then, once again, the Smith Metal Works event, that is going to be on the 8th and 9th in Mercer, Pennsylvania. Additional details going to be posted on smithmetalworks.info. That's WORKS.info. You can also follow along on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Smith Metalworks, WORX, on Facebook. Casey, I look forward to catching up with you here again down the line here as we get closer to your event, as we finalize vendors, finalize seminars, finalize different details for that Derby event that's happening just a mile up the road, and appreciate you making some time for us here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this year, just a quick overview. We got lots of stuff that'll be going on in several different areas of this complex that we're going to be having it at the new SMW home. So a lot to see. If you haven't been here the past couple years, it'd be a good thing to put on your calendar. I hear people constantly saying, no matter where we're at, they want to make it there. I've never heard anybody that had been here that didn't enjoy the experience or get something out of it. And as far as promoters, we get promoters from all over the U.S., and they all walk out of here saying it was, one of the best things they did for the weekend, networking and meeting a lot of new people, shaking hands. And we'll be having a list of the vendors. We're adding to that this year.
Right.
And, I think predominantly everybody that's attended in the years past will be here. And we will have all those details coming out very soon. So as long as everybody's a little patient, just plan on April 9th. If you want to see what the Derby World's about, then cruise on over to Western PA.
Sounds good, man. Casey, appreciate you catching up with us for a little bit, and we'll see you soon.
Yep, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Talk to you soon. There goes Casey Smith. And Brett, appreciate you making the trip up, hanging out, good information, and we'll be telling everybody about the deadlines so that we can maybe encourage them to move it along a little bit.
Oh, it is what it is. I'm not going to get upset if, there's no skin in the game for me. So, those who can make it, that want to make it, great. Just as well as I'm not going to get upset. Don't get upset at me if it's sold out or whatever. Perfect. I want to tell little man here, I appreciate everything he does. He works hard at the house. He's going to be a YouTuber, he says, and he's the one that pushes me along and has me, trying to keep going and building them cars and that. So I want to tell him thank you too.
Fantastic. How's the YouTuber thing going?
I'm trying to get some videos up.
Nice.
Try to get them up by next week.
I feel bad. He's struggling. I mean, when his passion and heart is into it, and he takes his camera bag and he does any place we go, he's persistent and don't stop. And I don't know the technology, and he's trying to do this editing, and he figures it out. And mind blowing to me. Mm-hmm. But it's getting to be time with him being persistent that, we'll figure it out.
It sure will. Don't give up on it. Soon enough, everybody will be smashing that like button and making the follow lit up, and you'll have millions and millions of pulsing fans all over the world, right?
Yep. Try at least.
Shot out of a cannon.
Chris, thank you very much.
Of course.
Happy New Year to everybody, and hopefully 22 is going to be...
Hopefully it's 2022 and not 2020 part 2.
2020 right. Part 2. Yeah, that would be good.
Hope not.
Fantastic. Well, that's going to do it for us here. We're over by a little bit, but I think all things considered, we got some good information out there. We'll be telling you more about the Derby Banquet and swap meet that's going to be held at the, I keep wanting to say Vernon Downs. Vernon Downs is where all the Utica Rome stuff and the Short Track Super Series and all the Empire Super Series stuff was here in the last month and a half. This is at the Tioga Downs.
Tioga Downs.
And we'll be sharing that information with you right up until the final cutoff and letting you know what vendors and stuff are going to be part of that once
any vendors that are definitely going to be there, make sure you get it out there or let known that you're going to be there. So that way, it's all about connections. It's all about, people knowing what's where and to get the best deal you can.
That is for sure. We got to get out of here. 384 is in the books. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us for a little while. That's going to do it for this one. We'll see you next time.
Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.